Well, David Darby, a former resident of Allen Benedict Court, shared a doctor's letter with our News 19's Alicia Nieves.
He says it highlights just how serious the mold problem was in his building, even back in 2013.
It's been years and years and years of negligence on the behalf of the housing authority.
David Darby lived at the Allen Benedict Court apartments from 2013 to 2018.
Moved in Allen Benedict Court, you was kind of like on your own. It's a risk thing to have lived there. I didn't know it. I needed someplace to live.
He lived in the Y building. In these documents uncovered by our deep dive team, they show Darby filed at least 2 work orders last March. One said he couldn't bathe because the bathtub was in poor condition, and the other said to check his heater for repairs because, quote, he was afraid it may catch fire because of the dust.
And if you turn the light on or attempt to light it with a lighter or a match or something, it would blow up. The hot water heater was nothing but a hotel for rats and roaches.
Those issues aside, Darby says the worst of his problems came in the form of mold and mildew.
Instead of scraping it off the wall on the inner side of the door, it was always under the windows where it would leak under the window. Instead of scraping it all off, they painted over it, and it grows back.
He says his health paid the price.
I've been in the hospital since residing there 15 times. I was telling them the truth. You're being negligent. There's something going on here. Oh, Mr. Darby, our maintenance people will check it out. That was always the story.
News 19 obtained this letter written by Darby's doctor in 2013 addressing the mold in his apartment at Allen Benedict. It says in part, Mr. Darby has a diagnosis of advanced end-stage COPD. He's dependent on supplemental oxygen and he has been hospitalized multiple times for this condition. This condition places him at a higher risk for developing respiratory distress. In this respect, it's important for Mr. Darby to avoid any possible respiratory irritants such as mold. For this reason, I request that Mr. Darby's concerns be investigated as soon as possible and the appropriate action be taken.
They are to blame because my condition worsened by being a resident there. And they knew it because I kept telling them there's something wrong with the apartment.
Darby lives in a new home now under the Columbia Housing Authority. He says conditions are better, and so is his health. And for that, he's grateful.
But I don't know when I'm going to expire. I really don't. Whatever his will is, that's what's going to be done. And God just didn't see fit for me to die like that, because to me, that would have been dying like a dog.
Alicia Nieves, News 19, WLTX.
Well, David Darby, if you remember, is actually the cousin of Calvin Witherspoon Jr., who's one of the men who died of carbon monoxide poisoning inside Allen Benedict Court apartments.